relax. Perfect tense is simple to understand. Now I am going to be teaching you the present perfect tense. Perfect tense, usually the verb we use for them are past participle verbs. That is past participle verb form. It was because of this perfect tense that I talked about past participle in our previous class when I taught you of present tense, past tense, continuous tense, and past participle. I told you that that past participle is not a tense but a verb form. Now, when we are talking about perfect tense in English, the verb that we use in that perfect tense is actually past participle verb form. The only thing is, before they appear in a sentence, they must take another helping verb. We'll talk about this helping verb as I explain this. But first, let us know how present perfect tense are used in English language. Please, come with me, let's look at the note here on the board. This tense is used to refer to an action that took place at an indefinite time in the past. When we talk about at an indefinite time in the past, the word indefinite means no particular end. So if we talk about indefinite time, it means no particular time. So when you want to talk about an action that took place in the past, but you are not specifying, you are not talking about the time actually that action took place. Possibly, maybe because you no longer know the particular time that action took place. The type of tense you use there, or the tense you use there, is present perfect tense. Is that okay? Alright, there is still another form in which this present perfect tense can still be used. You can use present perfect tense to show an action that began in the past and still continued into the present time you are talking about that action. So, two ways in which you can use present perfect tense. One, to talk about an action that has happened in the past, but at a time which maybe you do not know. It's possible that you even forgot the time. Okay? Or you can use it to talk about an action that started, that began in the past, and then it continued until the time you are talking about it, that is into the present. I am going to underline the key point again, okay? So that as you read through that point, you want to give attention, you want to focus on the point I'm going to underline. We said that present perfect tense is used to refer to an action that took place at an indefinite time in the words past. Or you can use it to refer to an action that began in the past and continued into the words present. What is the rule of forming a present perfect tense in a given sentence? So let us look at the rule now, and then we'll go over to the example of sentences for you to understand better how this is used in English language. We have rule of forming present perfect tense. So this is the rule. Once you start with the subject of the sentence is the noun or the pronoun which begins a sentence. Are you following, right? A noun or a pronoun that begins a sentence. Like I said, I'll talk about subject of a sentence in other classes to come, okay? So after your subject of the sentence, then this is what happens. You use the verb have or you use the verb has. This verb have or has is what makes this perfect tense a present tense. Remember, have or has, they are present helping verb, present auxiliary verb. The auxiliary verb there is primary verb. Please, I beg of you, visit the notes on types of verbs. Okay, that's classification of verbs. When I taught you about lexical verb and auxiliary verb, I specifically said something about two classification of auxiliary verbs. One is the primary auxiliary verb and the other is modal auxiliary verb. When talking about this present perfect tense, we use a primary auxiliary verb. Those primary auxiliary verb, we call them to have verb. We have some verb we call to be verb and then to have verb. The to have verb include has, have, had. Means that have been, has been, but let me not go there yet. We will still talk about these verbs as we move on in the study of English language. For now, what I want you to know is the primary auxiliary verb, present primary auxiliary verb that we use to make perfect tense a present tense. Are you following, right? To make perfect tense a present tense. Which present primary auxiliary verb do we use? So you use either have or you use what? Has. Are you following? Then plus the verb form, which must be in what? Past participle. So this past participle verb form is your perfect tense. Now what makes it present is either this have or what? Has. And I want to believe you understand this now, okay? So let's go over to these sentences here to see how we can understand this even better. Sentence number 1. Caleb and I have talked before. Caleb and I have talked before. What is our present perfect tense there? Have talked. Now, let me underline with black. Have talked. Okay? Caleb and I have talked before. Now, this have made this sentence a kind of present. Then this talked here is not past tense. Take notes. Like we say here, in this form of sentence, you use have or has with what? Past participle. This talked here is past participle, not past tense. Again, permit me to take your mind back to our last class. When I was talking about present tense, past tense, continuous tense, and present participle, you remember that there were some verb, their past tense ended with ed, and their past participle also ended with ed. In fact, there were some of them that the past tense were exactly the same as the past participle form. And I told you to watch out. Although they have the same spelling, but the way we use them in the sentence is different, okay? The way we use them in the sentence is different. I hope you're following. So look at this. Caleb and I have talked. This have is present. Now this talked is past participle, which represents the perfect tense. Is that okay? Talked before. Before. And what? When before? When? What time before? So there is no specific time. All I know is that Caleb and I have talked before at an indefinite time. So I don't need to mention any particular time. Let's move on to number 2. The girl has grown stronger over the last few years. The girl has grown stronger over the last few years. So what is the present perfect tense there? Has grown. Has. You can say that. Has is a present primary auxiliary verb. Present primary helping verb. This has is what made it present. And then grown, past participle, which takes the position of perfect tense. Present has, grown, perfect tense or past participle. So the girl has grown stronger over the last few years. Over the last few years, which year? No definite time. Are you following, right? And now when you said over the few years, when you are talking about this girl, when you made this statement, it is still believed that the girl is still growing. The girl has grown over the last few years, which means up till the particular year you made this statement, the girl is still in the growing stage. Look at the other usage here, that you can use it to refer to an action that began in the past and continued to the word present. This explains that. Okay, number 3, we have shut the door in the past. Present perfect tense, have shut. This shut is past participle. Remember, shut, shut, shutting, shut. Present tense is shut. Past tense is shut. Continuous tense is shutting. Past participle is still shut. So this shut here is past participle. Now what made it present is this have. We have shut the door in the past. In the past. When in the past? No specific time. Okay, we move on to the next one. It has become more difficult over the time. Maybe if somebody's behavior is becoming more difficult, more tough over the time, okay? You can say he has become more difficult over the time, which means from the past, the person's behavior is becoming difficult up to the time you are making this statement. So it goes again with this one. An action that started in the past and continued into the what? Present. So I'm going to underline this, has become. Become is the past participle of become. Now let's go. Present tense, become. Past tense, became. Continuous tense, becoming. Past participle, become. So you see, become, present tense. Its past tense its past participle is still become. Okay, so once again, go through these sentences here. Replay the video again to understand how we use perfect tense, how we form it in English language. We will now be concluding with the next tense, which is perfect progressive. That's perfect progressive tense in the present form. Okay, we call it present perfect progressive or present perfect continuous tense. What are they and how do we use them in English language?